You are not visible,
Yes,
but
sir.
you are audible.
I'm not visible but not audible.
You are
Okay.
audible, sir.
Sir,
Oh,
visible and audible.
okay, fine, great. So it is exactly 4 p.m. Now, first of all, I just do congratulate all of you to be the part of this 1 month online course on big data analytics. This program is being organized under a research project that is sanctioned to us at Punjab University, Chandigarh. Its name is the Capacity Building and Research Entrepreneurship Center in Artificial Intelligence, Big Data, and Internet of Things. It is sanctioned by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. So the sole purpose of this project is to cater with two branches. The branch one leads to the capacity building of the youth in these three fields, that is AI, big data, and IoT. And the second one is to enable research in these fields and to make, or you can say, or to enhance the research skills of youth in these three fields. So this activity is being organized to cater with branch number one, that is the capacity building in the field of big data analytics. Now, we all know the exact quantity or exact amount of, or you can say tentative amount of data being generated every minute, every second. We are just surrounded by so many sensors, and the number of sensors are increasing day by day, minute by minute, and second by second. So definitely in the coming times, the data of these all sensors is to be acquired, and that is to be analyzed, and that is to be put in some useful context, that these are the things that the people want or like, and these are the things that people do not want or dislike. Or you can say that the data that is coming out of these sensors or these Internet of Things enabled devices need to be analyzed, need to be taken for the scrutiny by the artificial intelligence and machine learning tools. So these three or four things collectively will make the life of normal human being easier and very much comfortable also. So this can be seen as one of the basement tasks to reach towards that application of area of AI along with the data being generated by our Internet of Things devices. So this is the beginning, or you can say the purpose of conducting this course is to disseminate the beginner's knowledge in the field of big data analytics. We are going to cover Hadoop, we are going to cover MapReduce, we are going to cover the contents in such a way to demonstrate the practical applicability or the practical knowledge around the big data analytics. So this is what I want to say about the course, specifically the big data analytics. And further, I wish to inform that this is the fourth activity under this center. The earlier three were first of our course was the programming with Python, again 1 month online course. The second one was the programming, or you can say the machine learning with Python, again 1 month course. The third course was the lecture series and skills development. So we conducted these three activities in the past, and this is our fourth activity under the center. And one of the important thing about the activities which are being conducted under the center is that every day we are going to upload the contents covered in the sessions on our YouTube channel. Means we are maintaining a YouTube channel named as the AI Center. Uh, all our activities, all our lectures, all our contents delivered till date are available on our YouTube channel. So the participants will be able to cover up if something is missing or there were some network issues out at your end, then you will be able to cover the contents from our YouTube channel also. Each day After finishing the course within 3 or 4 hours, we will be uploading the video content covered on that particular day to our YouTube channel, and we'll be sharing the link in the WhatsApp group that is formed. This is the unique practice we are observing while conducting our courses. So I wish you the best of this 1 month, that you gain most of the concepts, you gain the practical knowledge. And one thing more, I wish to share with you that till now we have engaged more than 20 experts for 3 of our earlier courses. And for this particular course, we selected the 3 who have got the best of the audience, best of the participants' feedback. So 2 of our experts are from industry, 1 is from academia. Our today's expert is going to be Ms. Shruti. She works with Nintus technology and is very proficient in data science, machine learning, and especially the Python language. So I hope that all of you will be benefited in a greater extent by her experience, by her knowledge. So again, I wish you the best for this course, and I invite Shruti ji to take over the stage. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Most welcome, madam. Most welcome.
Good afternoon, participants. I hope all are doing well. And as already the introduction is done by sir already, so I'll not waste any more time, and we'll start with the big data. So let me share my slide first. Yeah. So my slide is visible. My screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's great. Okay,
मैम
that's
हिंदी
great.
में एक्सप्लेन कर देना.
Okay, so some participants are practicing and some are English, so I'll try to speak in both languages.
Okay, Shruti ji, just sorry to interrupt you. In our earlier courses, there was a request to be multilingual throughout the course. Maybe the intent is that if someone is asking the questions or doubts in Punjabi, then the expert is expected to again respond in Punjabi or in the language that is, you can say, the participant, the questioner is comfortable with. So again, this is the request to all of our experts, and I am just reiterating the same way.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Can you also include Punjabi?
Yes, sir. What are you saying?
Okay, I have already named Punjabi. Don't worry, sir. Don't worry. Okay, continue.
Okay, everyone. So you can ask me any question if you in different languages. I'm comfortable in Punjabi as well. So I am a Punjabi. So we'll start with the big data. So sir has already given my introduction. So I'll not with my introduction. So we have a course of big data, and in this course we are going to cover for today lecture only. We will see how the big data come. That the brief introduction of the big data, why we are doing the big data, and where it comes from. Why there is a need to launch this technology, which come as a big data, and what are the challenges and the problems we are facing in the big data, and what are the applications we have in the big data, and how we can see that big data as an opportunity, like how the companies which are hiring big data analytics, and which are the companies we have and why they are using big data. So let me ask you one thing. The session would be very interactive because today is a theoretical session, because practical session will be starting from tomorrow, because I want you to have basic concepts of big data, the like why we are doing and its architecture. So will do this today. So tell me any company or any company which is using big data analytics or which is using big data. Any company or any example. You can type in the chat box.
Ma'am, Gold Shacks.
Facebook.
Ma'am, Facebook, Google.
Yeah. So tell me how they are using that. Okay, you know that they are using, yes, they are using, and yes, any other case study or any how they are using or the specific.
Uh, act
Okay. Yeah, that's
Hello,
good.
hello.
Archit is saying yes, Apache Spark on Hadoop. So these are the tools. Archit, Apache Spark and Hive, HBase. So these are the tools which we are using. Yes, banking, collection. Yeah. So that's a very good example that you already know that there are many companies which are using these big data analytics as in their company to find out how to gain some insights कि हम कैसे profit कर सकते हैं अपनी company को by using this big data analytics. And I'll give you if many of because I guess many of you are students, so everyone is watching Netflix. Yeah, so you are
Yes,
familiar with the Netflix and the Netflix recommendation system. Yes. So that recommender system again, how it is processing very fast, how it will give you the recommender movies or series within seconds. So how they are providing that, we have to build that. So with this month, what you have to do, what we have to build Hadoop, we have to maintain big data. We'll try to we'll install the big data into our system, and on that we will perform these types of project, we will perform these types of queries, how we can generate recommender system or banking, how we can analyze these data, which will ultimately give us the information or the analytics which we want. Okay, so going further, let's see, these are the today's agenda, that we have to see evolution of data, then we'll come to what is big data, we'll see the definition of the big data, but you'll already you got to know from the evolution and how we can see the big data as an opportunity, and what are the problems in this opportunity, what are the problems we were facing that we have launched big data. And when we have launched big data, there are many frameworks which we have. So, but we are using Hadoop as a solution. So, why we are using Hadoop and what's the benefit of using Hadoop in this? So, we'll study that and Hadoop ecosystem. So, these we are going to study in today's lecture.
ma'am. Hello,
Let's, yeah,
ma'am. Can you share with us which projects you are going to do in this training?
yes, sir. We have many projects. We'll share with you that we want to discuss. If there is
Please,
any particular project, if you want to discuss,
please
because
share.
we will going to be use many platform or many tools. Like we are going to be use Hive, HBase, and the MapReduce HDFS. So on which you will be comfortable, on which you want, because we have many data set, and I'll teach you everything is how MapReduce work, how you can analyze data, how you can processing data in the MapReduce, and how you can do the analysis on the Hive as well as the Pig, as well as there are many tools. So on the basis of that, we are going to be covered 2 3 case studies on which we are going to analyze some data, maybe some transport data, and it can be hospital data, so that we can take.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let's start with the evolution of technology. Now, how the big data comes into limelight. See over here, earlier what we are having, we were having the landline telephone, but now the technology is evolution change, and now we are having the various mobile phones. We have the smartphones. Now the technology is changed. Now, if we see earlier for the processing of data, we have having the desktop, that the large mainframe desktop we were having. Then, if we want to store some data, then we have floppy disk. After that, we got hard disk. And now we are storing data in the form of cloud. We are storing data in cloud. Now, these see this how technology is evolving, how technology is changing. And if earlier we have the car, but now we have the self-driving car. Now, let's take just one example of self-driving car. If we are having this smart car, or we can say the self-driving car, what it will do, it will take this device, the smart car, will have some sensors. What they'll done, they'll send some data, they'll get some information that how you have to move within 1 kilometer, or these are the have to sense, okay, हमारे सामने क्या है, the amount of data it has to gather within 1 minute. So these amount of information that are generating within 1 minute, or we can say 60 seconds, so these have to be processed very fast. So see, with the evolution of technology, earlier we were having the telephone, landline phones, now we are having mobile phone. So the data is generated with the mobile phone because you are using many apps, you are using very social media, and you are using many social media apps or some other apps which track your activity. For example, if you go to gym, you have these devices. So these are connected and they are generating data at a very fast rate. So with the evolution of technology, we can say that the data is generating in a very fast rate. If we see another IoT, now IoT, what is IoT? This is the Internet of Thing, and as I gave you the example of the self-driving car, it is also the example of the IoT. Tell me, what do you understand by the IoT? Because these are all interrelated with each other. Because every technology in every field you have to know big data. Because you are generating a large amount of data and you have to process these amount of data. Now see over here, what we are saying that earlier you were having that data that is in your telephone phone, that the landline, but now what you are having the smartphone. When you are sending some WhatsApp messages to each other, अभी भी हमारे पास क्या है, एक WhatsApp ग्रुप है, आपका एक WhatsApp ग्रुप बना हुआ है टू शेयर थिंग्स विद यू. अब उसमें भी क्या है, वी हैव a large amount of data. We will send videos, we will send content, we will share content with you. So these, now this is with the only with you, but we have many other groups also available in our WhatsApp. So we are sending a large amount of data, we are generating this large amount of data. And with IoT we can see that the self-driving car, because at one time, at within 60 seconds, it is generating a large amount of data within just 60 seconds, because the self-driving car has to process the data and has to move the car. So now see over here with the IoT, we are also, because there are many other devices like smartphones, wearable devices. So the data is generated using the IoT also is very big. So with now we have seen that the data is generated with the evolution of technology. And another important factor from which the data is coming is the social media. Now I know everyone is active on social media. Is there any one person who is not active on social media, who don't have any Facebook account or some Instagram account? Is there any one person?
Yes, ma'am. I have no Facebook account.
Okay, that and what about Instagram?
No.
No or yes?
Said no.
Okay, okay, okay. That's great. That is a one person among 150. What about others?
No
Is
doubt.
there anyone?
Yes.
So there is only one person who
मैम
now
आपकी
see on.
वॉइस बहुत कट कट के आ रही है.
Uh, okay, let me check my connection first.
No, ma'am, it's clear.
Now it's
You
clear.
are audible to us.
Okay, okay. Okay, that's great. Yeah, so we were saying that one is among okay, one is only from 150 who is not on social media. Now see, you are only 150 and you are 150 participants, and around 149 is active on social media. And what we are doing on social media, we are posting our pictures, we are posting where we are going, we are posting our food pictures, and every post we are sharing. So you are doing everything on social media, and social media is a big platform which is generating a huge data. As already some has given me example of Facebook, that how Facebook is using big data, as give you big data analytics, as give you some recommendation.
क्या कर रहा है
So so your data who is generating. Let's talk about some facts which we have already gathered. Now see the statistics which we have on the screen, that the Facebook, how many likes and how many photos are uploading at a 1 second, and how many tweets are generating at a 1 second, how many 3 hours of videos are uploading on the, and how many mails we are sending, and how many Instagram pics we are uploading on the Instagram. So because the huge amount of data which we are having on the, which we are extending from this social media, so we can say that this is a huge data. So users which are basically using the services or Facebook, Twitter, Google, you can see that they are generating a lot of data. And these websites which you are using, this Facebook, Twitter, they are managing your data, they are storing your data. And you can see they are storing your data because they want to analyze, but they want to extract some useful information from that data. So see over here, we have high-end devices also, from which we have the sensors. So they are generating also a lot of data, smart meters, or we have wearable devices. So
मैम
these
आपकी
data,
वॉइस बहुत
you
ज्यादा
can see
कट रही है,
that.
मेरे को क्लियर समझ नहीं आ रहा।
Uh, okay, there is some problem with Payal, but tell me, other participants, can you, my voice is clear, or are you
मैम
facing
मुझे
the same
प्रॉब्लम है
problem?
ओनली।
Ma'am, your
Ma'am,
voice is
I
clear.
am.
Your voice is clear.
Clear.
Your voice is clear.
Your voice is crystal clear.
Payal, there is some problem with your connection, because from
मैम
my side,
कनेक्शन,
everything is
हाँ जी।
clear. Yeah.
I'll ma'am, I request you to
अच्छा
kindly refresh your settings for audio connections.
Okay.
ओके मैम।
Yeah.
Ma'am,
Now,
how will they mark your attendance?
yes, sir.
How will they mark your attendance?
Sir, I'll announce
So,
about attendance soon. I'll share the details about attendance.
okay. So,
You can continue with your course now.
yeah. So there are other factors. We have seen evolution of technology. We have seen the big data with the IoT, how the data is generating, and with the social media, a large amount of data is generating, right? And there are some other, for example, if you have already know about the website, for example, Amazon, right? So you have a website, for example, Amazon. So what they are doing when you visit them, you are purchasing them. So if you are purchasing something from the Amazon, they will maintain a purchasing history for you. They'll maintain, they are maintaining some data for every client. So for that, because they want to maintain it, they want to analyze further. If you are coming on that website, so they want to sell you more things because they want to gain some profit. So for that, there are some other factors like insurance, bank, because everyone want to sell their services, and they want to grow their business. So in other factors, if they want to grow their business, they want to do according to the clients. So what their client wants, what clients will prefer much more. So they have to analyze the clients. So these are the factors which is also generating the data, a huge amount of data. Now here comes why it is called. Let's see first what is big data and why it is called a big data. So according to a definition, it is a term which we are using for the collection of the data sets which are so large and the complex that it becomes difficult to process, because earlier we were having the data, but now the data is so large. As we can see, there are multiple sources from the data is generated, and the data is huge, it's very huge, that it becomes difficult to process, right? Because earlier we can process the data easily, but now the available traditional system, we can't use the traditional system to process the data because data is huge. Why we are not using that? There are another terms which are going to explain. So what, on the basis of the traditional, we can't do that. So what we have to do on the basis of the big data, we have to see how we have to store it and how we have to process it, which is a very large, huge amount of data, right? So how this is come, how we can say that. So the first is the volume. Now, because why it is called a big data, first is because of the volume. And as 2020, we have seen that we have the data is grow for I guess it is goes from the statistics I got it 4.4 of zettabytes. Now zettabytes is very huge, which is around 44 zettabytes, or we can say a 44 trillion gigabytes. So these huge amount of data we have with the industries, and they have to process because the data, the volume of the data is increasing day by day. As we have cell phones, even some persons is having two cell phones, or they are using two social media accounts, because now digital everyone is using digital marketing for their business. So they have two different websites, and they are using Instagram account, they are using Facebook account for that. So a huge amount of data, a huge volume of data is generating. That's why first factor, which is for the contribution of taking as a big data, is the volume, because data is generating day by day in the terms of exponentially. So second, which we have to see, is the variety. Now here you have to understand that we have a variety of data. How we have variety of data? Because see, we have audio files, we have video files, we have some JSON files, we have log files, we have mail files. So earlier we don't have these amount of files to process, but now we are dealing with these various amounts of file. So earlier we have relational RDBMS, right? So earlier we were having RDBMS, that is relational database management system, to process the data. So now, but the if you want to process some images or audio file, how you can process with the RDBMS? So here what we have to do, they have divided the data into three parts, that the data is structured data, and the semi-structured data, and the unstructured data. This is very important. You have to understand this one, that the structured data is the kind of data which is in the form of the rows and the columns. So the data which you are storing in the form of the rows and columns, that is in the form of the table, then you can say that your data, if you're processing, that is the structured data. Then we are coming to the semi-structured data. So now what is semi-structured data? The data which you have to store in the form of your JSON file and your XML files, because now companies, or now even Facebook or some other websites, if you see what they are doing, they are storing data in the JSON format. So you know what is JSON format? Yes, anyone is having idea about JSON format?
No, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's a JavaScript object notation. Anyone is familiar with Python?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so if you are familiar with Python, so JSON is like just your dictionary. Have you used dictionary?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So what is dictionary in Python?
Ma'am, they are data structure, ma'am, to
The data
store
structure in which
different type of list, ma'am, in a
stores
specific
in
order,
form of
ma'am, by
tables.
providing a key, ma'am.
Yeah, that's it. We in dictionary, in if you are familiar with the Python, then we have a key value pair. So if you want to store some data in the JSON format, and many websites are storing data in this format nowadays. So how they are storing in the key value pair? What is the key for that and the value for that? They are storing in that format. So if you are having JSON files, XML files, CSV files, so all kind of data, what they are it's a semi-structured data, because you can't store it in the structured format, that is not in the table, rows and the columns format. So these category will come under your semi-structured, because they have some structured but not the in the form of your table. So that's why this come under the category of semi-structured. And now we have unstructured data. So what is unstructured data? That is having a no structure. For example, you're having your audio files, your video files, your images, your log files. But now we also need to store this data. Even my phone, I'm having 4 GB of storage, and every time when I open, because I have so many photographs in my phone and in my WhatsApp, because I am sending these so many documents on WhatsApp. Every time when I open my WhatsApp, it will say you have a shortage of memory. Why it is showing? Because shortage of memory, because everything which I'm sending, the images I'm getting, the videos I'm sending, the files I'm sending, so it is storing onto that. So for storing these kind of data, the images, audio, so how they are storing, this is a unstructured data again. For these type of variety of data, structured data, semi-structured data, or unstructured data, you need big data for processing of every variety of the data. That's why we have come with the big data. So this is the second reason. I hope this is clear, structured, semi-structured, and unstructured. Because in upcoming session, because we have to see how to store this structured, semi-structured, unstructured, every type of data. So you should be familiar with what is structured, what is semi-structured, and unstructured. Because I'll ask in upcoming session also. So next step is the velocity. Now see over here, we have already seen that after every 60 seconds, what they are having so many they are having around 100 of tweets they are generating after 60 seconds, and they are generating so many Facebook 6,95,000 status updating after every 60 seconds. And on they are sending instant messages. There are some Google searches also which are happening after in these huge amount of Google searches are happening after every 60 seconds. So many emails and so many terabytes of data are created, and there are so many new mobile users which are which are taking the leverage of a mobile and having the smartphone, and they are generating a very high rate. So data is being generating a very alarming rate. So we can say that the velocity is increasing at a very high rate. So the mainframe, that is, we earlier we were having the mainframe system, right, for processing the data, but it was so huge that it can't process a huge amount of data. Then we came on to client server. Then if we want to save some data, we are using the internet facility, and on internet we are using this mobile, social media, and cloud we are using. So the huge amount of data, that the velocity is increasing at a very high rate. So this was the third main reason for the velocity. And we can say that the big data is the three V's. Earlier, around in 2017 or in 2016, there were three V's for the big data. For the characteristics which we can explain for the big data is the volume, velocity, and the variety. But now, with the evolution of tech and with the time, there are two more V's which are added. So the fourth V is the value. So value, what you have to do now, see over here, you have a large amount of data, but what you do if you have only the data, if you don't get the meaning, if you don't get such useful information from the data, what you will do that from this, right? So for that, what you have to do, you have to get some useful information that will profit my company also, that will profit me also, if I'm getting such useful information. So for getting such useful information, for this, what you have to do, we have to do some insights, we have to clear some data, we have to find, okay, which data basically we have to do data mining, that you have to see what you have to do, which data you have to kept and which you have to delete. That is the data mining. And after the data mining, you have to analyze the data. Okay, this data we are getting this much inside, this data we are getting this much inside. So from this, you will get the value of your data. You have to see, okay, this data you are getting some information from the user, right? So if someone is doing some shopping, for example, if I have to buy a new phone, I want to buy iPhone 12, for example, if I want to buy, right? So I'll check every website, for example, Amazon, what's if they are offering some services or something, or if they have make some sale, or I'll check Flipkart also. I'll check every platform on which I can check for buying some new things. So what they will do, they will maintain my data, and they will but not for iPhone 12 because this is launched very new, but for other services, what will they will do, they will send you messages that if you got this, you will get a discount of this, or you have, if you see this, you can see other options also. They will send you some recommendation also. So this is the value I am getting from it. So my information, for example, my name, my age, everything, my information is stored in their database. But what information they have to use for selling me the iPhone, so they depend on what, that is depend on the data analysis and the data mining part. So that is the value on how you will get the correct information which you want to correct the meaning, what is the meaning or specific information I want to get from that data. So that is my value in that case. So this is the fourth one. And the last one is the 5V, that is the veracity. So what is basically is the veracity? Yes, have you familiar with the veracity, participants?
No.
Okay, no. So this
Yes,
is
ma'am.
veracity is new. Volume, variety, velocity. This is all everyone knows, na?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That one is
So
awareness.
Yes, ma'am.
Aware about.
okay. Okay. So what is veracity? That you have to provide the consistency of the data. Because see over here, if you are having some data, you have to give minimum, maximum, and the mean value because you are dealing with the numeric data. Now see in this, in the minimum value, you are having one row in which you are having the 15,000 minimum value, and this is huge as compared to the other minimum values. So from here you can see that the data is not consistent or there is some uncertainty in this data. And if we see in the standard deviation, there is also, because other is having minimum value of standard deviation, for example 0.83, 0.43, but there is one row which is having 50, I guess बहुत बड़ी value है इसमें. So there is, we can say there is some uncertainty or there is some inconsistency with this data. But if and if you have to find some old data which you have to find some maximum value and some mean value, some data is missing, then you can apply analytics to that and you can find that value. So how to remove this the data you are having, because you are dealing with a large amount of data and you have to process a large amount of data, then how you can deal with this uncertainty and inconsistency? Because if your data is inconsistent and not certain, then it's of no value because it will give you the fault results, and I don't want my fault results because it will affect my company and it will affect my clients also, right? For example, let me give you one example of, if you are having let me say, okay, let's take example of iPhone cover also. If I'm having iPhone 11 right now, right? So I'm having 11 and earlier I was having iPhone 8 plus. So for that, if they didn't update my data, if there is inconsistency with their data, they have updated that I have iPhone 8 plus. So when I'm searching for that iPhone 11 cases, but they are showing me the iPhone 8 plus cases. So they are recommending me iPhone 8 plus cases because they haven't updated, because there is inconsistency in their data. So I know I don't want to buy 8 plus cover because I am only having iPhone 11 cover, 11 phone. So I'd only want to buy iPhone 11 cover. So I'll not buy it. So उनका consumer क्या हो गया, उनका client चला गया. I'll not buy it. So if you have inconsistency, you have to suffer from that. That's why there comes the limelight of big data, because of these are 5 V's. So first is the volume, second is the variety, and third we are having is the velocity, then having the value and the veracity. So these are the 5 V's which are important and which make the data. There are earlier it was 3 V's, but now we have 5 V's of big data, and I don't. There might be another V's also which is associated with the big data with the grow with the time. So they can be grow with the time also if they want to do some changes in that. So we'll see if they do some changes. But for now, we are only having 5 V's. We have the volume. If we are having a large amount of data, the because volume is increasing of data day by day, and because we are having a large amount variety of data, structured data, unstructured data, and the semi-structured data. And we have the velocity because it is increasing at a very exponential rate. Now value, because we have to get the information from that, we have to get extract useful information, that's why we are using value. And the veracity is that we need to be consistent, the data is need to be consistent, right? So now come as big data as an opportunity. Now, what is big data? How big data is coming? What is the characteristics of big data? We have already seen that. Now we have to see how big data come as an opportunity. So if you want to work in some company, you need to be understand how there are many things which you can learn. For example, if you want to go into some session, for example, only the installation, how you will see the server is performing. Okay, tell me, have you built any server before?
Yes, ma'am.
Which server?
Ma'am, work with Linode.
Okay, that's good.
Yes, ma'am.
And about others? Yes.
No,
No,
ma'am,
ma'am.
not yet.
Not
Okay.
yet, ma'am.
Okay. So everyone is compatible with Linux platform?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, little bit.
Okay, little bit. So which platform you are using for Linux? Either Ubuntu, RHEL, Fedora, any platform which you are comfortable with?
Ubuntu, ma'am.
Ma'am, arts.
Okay, Debian. Okay, that is Ubuntu. Yes, Debian is Ubuntu. Okay, ठीक है. Ubuntu. Sorry. And if you okay, cool. If you are comfortable, Red Hat. Okay, that's very good. Because if you are comfortable with one platform of Ubuntu, then you can work on any other platforms of Linux. So there is no problem with that. And for this, we are going, because for the installation of Hadoop, we are going to implement on Ubuntu. Okay. So make sure you have down, I'll give you the link where you have to see. And if you want to if you want to make it effective, this course, try to do some Linux commands. Try to do some basic Linux command from before the tomorrow session. Okay, from the basic commands we will cover, no problem with that. Now see over
Okay, ma'am.
here. Okay, now see over here, we can see the big data as an opportunity, because we have the one thing which I tell you, that how to manage the server, because you are having the big data, so you are having the you have to maintain the Hadoop. So for maintaining the Hadoop, there is one opportunity where you can work that, and the second, uh, okay, someone is saying Linux is mandatory. For Hadoop installation, it is mandatory, because if you don't know that which command is working, so how you can perform that? But there are some other tools, like for example, we have Apache Spark. You don't. There is no need to implement on Hadoop. You can even implement on the Windows platform also. We will give a hypothetical in server to that. So, but if you're going to deep of this big data, I'll prefer you will go with the Linux. Okay, because Hadoop we will implement in Linux. So, see over here. Uh, okay, there is okay. Okay, some is having Windows right now. So what we'll do for that, there is one virtualization software we have. Have you heard about VMware and VirtualBox?
Yes, ma'am.
So what you have to do, you have to install VirtualBox or VMware, any the virtualization software in your system. And in that virtualization software, we will install another operating system like your Ubuntu. So your system should have a good configuration and good RAM, otherwise your system will hang. Because if you want to implement this server, it will hang. Okay, at least 4 GB it required, because I'll not give you the client and the server, because according to your system requirements, I'll only install one or two virtual machines onto your system, onto your Windows machine using the virtualization software. So two things you have to do. First is virtualization software, either VMware or VirtualBox. Okay. So in whichever you are comfortable, you have to install that. Otherwise, I'll show you the steps also, but just download that. And I've used both virtualization software, VirtualBox as well, and other one is the VMware, but I like VMware the most. So if you want the crack version, I'll give you the key also. And this one, the first thing is you have to just download that, and the second is you have to download the ISO of Ubuntu. Okay, download 16 version 16.004 LTS version of the Ubuntu. You can download that. So these two things you have to download only, not install, just download. I'll will do step by step how you can install that. We will do step by step, so no problem in that. Just download these two files. So see over here. First, I told you what you have to do. The Hadoop, that the developer, either you can go into that the server management, and the second is that big data analytics, right? In the big data analytics, what you have to do, you have to analyze the data and you have to see how we can reduce the cost of some specific company, or how we can gain some more useful information to provide the clients, right? To get to get their interest and to sell their products. So these kind of things we can use in the big data. So we have seen that because if we take the faster and the better decision making with the help of the big data, and what we have to do, we have to see the what are the next generation products, how we can see there are, because there are many other opportunities which we have to see. And in every field, if we are say that the automated car or in the healthcare, so in every field you have this big data. Even I have published recently one paper in spring in Italy, and I have done some big data analytics. I have used big data analytics on healthcare data. So we have predict whether the person is facing from the diabetes or not. So how you can predict that? So we have done big data analytics onto that. So these are the kind of opportunity. If you want to if you want to do some research, you can use big data analytics. And if you want to grow your company, so these kind of things you can do that, right? So see over here, there is one case study which I'll be share with you, that IBM have developed one smart meter. Now earlier, what will happen earlier, for getting the electricity bill, what we have the one system, we have one meter. What we'll do, after every month the data will be collected, and it will give you the bill, that this is your bill for this whole month. And it will done after every month. You can't collect after 10 days or 20 days. Earlier this was the smart system, but IBM what has done, they have done a smart meter. So in smart meters, what they can do, they can data is collected in the 15 minutes. So after every minutes your data is collecting, you have consumed this amount of electricity in this. At this span, this is this electricity they are using. At this span, this is electricity they are generating for it, right? So you can see when okay, अब आपका bill ज़्यादा आ रहा है, अब आपका bill कम आ रहा है. So these kinds of things they have built using the smart meter. Now see over here, if we have to manage this large, because now see, after every 15 minutes your data is generating. So if you have after your data is generating after every 15 minutes, so that is a large volume, and the velocity of information is generated, right, by very short intervals of your smart reader. So now what you have to do for this, you need a big data, and for storing these large amount of information for that. And if you have stored these large amount of information in your big data, now you have to see how many users you have and how many readings they are reading. See, because of these
Hello. Hello. Ma'am, you
Please
are
wait
not
for some
audible.
time. I think Shruti ma'am just got disconnected in between. She'll be joining soon. Just wait for some time.
Okay, no problem.
Hello, is it audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, okay, great.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. So now see, we are having 96 million readings per day for every million meters. Now we are having these amount of meters, and we are having these amount of data which we have to study. So that's why we are using this big data to study these amount of information. Now what was the problem with the big data, with the smart meter which we have gathered? So to manage and use this information to gain insight, because we have to see what we have to do after every 15 minutes, they are okay, they are generating these amount of data, but how we can use that amount of data to use that. So what they have, they need two things. First is the storage, because there are many of data which is generating. So first need that they require this much of storage, and the second they have to use advanced analytics also to gain some information from that data. So they have to convert, they have to transform data into some useful information, so that they can take actions or they can gain some information from that. So for this, what they have done, Yeah, this one. So what they have done, so how this smart meter data is analyzed using this big data. So see over here. So before analyzing big data, what we have seen that energy utilization and billing has increased. We are not using big data over here, and after getting the data, we can only see that energy utilization and billing has increased, just this amount of. And when we have done analyzing using big data, what we have seen that during the peak hours, because when we analyze the data we can see that during the peak load the user requires more energy, because there is some time span in which you have to do, there is the electricity charge which they are charging is very high at some specific time span, because at that time span user are using much amount of electricity. So at that time they have charged, they have made the bill very high at that time. So if they have charged unit high at that time. So we have measured that which is the peak load time and which is the off peak time the users are using. Okay, so these we can see from after analyzing the big data that what are the during peak load the user require more energy, and during off peak times these users are required less energy. For example, at night user don't require much energy because from 12 to 6 users are usually most sleeping. So what this information you are getting, so after analyzing what you can suggest? Yes, participant. So if you are having these amount of data, I'll give you these insights from after analyzing this kind of data from the big data. So what you will conclude from this? What should we do? Are you getting?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So tell me
Should
what you
plan.
are getting.
We should plan for availability based tariff, and we charges more at the time when the energy usage is negligible is on peak.
Yes, we should use now our industry. If we are having the company or if you're having some, we should do work in off-peak times. Even at home also, if I want to use my washing machine or if I want to use the electronic devices which take a large amount of electricity, so what I'll do it in the night time of the off-peak times. So these insights help us to gain how we can help the customers also, how we can हेल्प द इंडस्ट्री ऑल्सो. अगर हम वैसे यूज करेंगे देन माई इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल्स ऑफ, अगर मैं ऑफ पीक टाइम पर करूंगी तो मेरा इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल यूजुअली कम आएगा. सो this is benefit for the user as well as the industry people also. So these kind of information which is very useful for saving the cost, savvy detail like industrial heavy machines which they have to use. If using at off peak time, they are saving a huge amount of pricing for that. And this has taken by the this IBM. They have this maintained this smart meter solution. So they have, so for this, if you want to build a smart meter solution, so what they have started, how they have started, first is the data warehousing step. First is that you have to collect the data, that what is the peak time, what is the off peak time. So what you have to collect the data, how many users are using at this times, and at the off peak time what is the price for that. So first is the data warehousing. For building this IBM smart solution they have taken that you have to collect the data. And the second is the security, because you are getting the data from the user, so you need to be sure that the data should be secure with you. It should not be get in the hands of the other person, so that it will they will not use it for the negative way, right? So the second step is the you have to be maintain the security also. And the third, after getting the data, after the security, what you have to do, you have to do the mining of the data. So what is in the mining, I already explained that you have to clean the data, that which data is useful, which data is not useful. So this is the data mining. And after the cleaning of the data, you have to analyze that what are the insights of that data, what information you are getting from useful information, which is useful for me. And for this building this smart solution, they have taken these 5 steps, right? So this suit they have built, the IBM has made this suit for this, that is a smart meter solution, and they have built this integrated suite of products which is designed mainly basically to enable IT to give the leverage of big data in a variety of ways that can contribute to the success of the energy companies also. Now see over here, even these smart meter solution have wired by the many companies, and they have gained really they have gain very huge profit from these smart meter solutions. So we'll see what they have done in the steps of making this. So first is the managing smart meter data. So if you are having the data, so what is, yes?
Please explain again what is smart meter.
Okay, smart meter, I told you that earlier, which the system which we were having, it was having the data it will give you after every 30 days. It will give you the reading. But in smart meter, what they have taken, they want to give you the reading of your electricity after every 15 minutes. So after every 15 minutes, your data is generating how many consumption of electricity is doing, the units they are charging for that. So for this, for building it, what they have done for making it the solution, smart meter solution, first is that they have done the process of data warehousing. So in data warehousing, they have collected the data of the user, that how much data they are gathering and how much data of the user, how many consumption they are having, the old data which we're having. So data warehousing is the process of the data collection. If we have done the process of the data collection, uh, after that we have the security. We have to see the data which we have gathered from the user, we need not need to be shared, because have to see the security. So second is the security should be there, and the third is that the data mining. Okay, so what in the data mining process, what they have done after gathering and providing the security, they are doing the data mining, that is they are using your cleaning of data, because you are having a huge amount of data, and you with the specific things which you want, specific parameters which you want, so you need to see only that. So that is called data mining. And after the data mining, when you clear your data, you have to get the useful information, you have to analyze the data. So for getting the useful information, so what you have to do, you have to analyze the data. So these is all is happening in the smart meter solution which is provided by the IBM. Okay, and in this smart meter solution, they are maintaining these five things. And first is they are managing smart meter data. So first is I told you that every 15 minutes, what is happening? Your user is generating, your smart meter is generating data. So you are having a huge amount of data. So you need how to manage that data. Okay, with the help of which I told you the big data. And the second, you also have to monitor the distribution grid. Now see over here how we can monitor. We are doing the monitoring of this distribution grid, because for this we have to see if there is some changes in uh, at the peak time or offload time. So you have to be monitor. You have to monitor the grid when the change is happening, when the change is not happening for the future, right? So that's why we are monitoring the distribution grid also. Then we are seeing how we can optimizing the unit commitment, because you are using the unit, how much it is charging from you. So you have to see what is the off peak hours, right? And what is how they are using for that. So what you have to do, you have to see how the energy is hiding, how when they are using their devices. So you need to be optimizing the unit when you have to use. And the second is optimizing the energy trading. In this they will provide you how you can optimize your energy also. For example, it will tell you when you want to when there is a off peak time, you can use your heavy bulk devices which will require more electricity. So that's how you can optimize, you can balance the value. Like I told you, because if at one time what will happen, everyone is using a large amount of electricity, so there would be a difficulty in managing that balance, managing the load at that time. So what they'll do, they'll if you're using that if participants are using that heavy devices at night time, so sometimes they will balance this load of the energy. So that's how you can optimize the energy trading also, and even you can predict the scheduling or the forecasting in the future. So these are the 5 things.
Ma'am, what is the difference between commitment and optimizing energy trading?
Okay, so optimizing unit commitment, I told you that if you want to optimize the unit, that the electricity which you are having, right? So electricity which is coming from, we can say that from the your so with the electricity they are coming the unit. If we see the unit at this time is, for example, rupees 5 they are taking for this at this time, and at second time it is taking at 3. Like, so you can see that if we optimize it, if we provide these energy, these fields to the people who are at the later area, so what they can do, they can optimize, okay, these the difference between the 5 and the 2, so we have to optimize the unit, we have to change the unit because this is at the high peak at that time. So that's how you can optimize the unit at that area. And if we talk about optimizing energy, as I told you, energy trading is deal with the load balancing. So in energy trading, you just only have to see how you manage the load. That at what time you will provide the companies. That some companies which are using the heavy devices, so though you have to tell, okay, at that time you can only use your devices because other company is using at another time. Because you have to manage the load. अगर हम एक ही time पर server पर ऐसे ही हमारे अटैक्स भी होते हैं एक ही टाइम पर, अगर आपके सर्वर पर बहुत सारी रिक्वेस्ट आती हैं, लोड की रिक्वेस्ट आती हैं, योर सर्वर कांट मैनेज, सो यू हैव टू इवन ऑप्टिमाइज कि हमारे सर्वर पर ज्यादा लोड भी ना आए, यू हैव टू ऑप्टिमाइज. So in energy trading, we are only dealing how with the load balancing, and unit commitment is deal with how you can manage the prices of that. Okay.
मैम यही तो होता है ना मैम, आफ्टर एग्जाम जब एग्जाम रिजल्ट डिक्लेयर होता है तो एवरीबॉडी स्टार्ट सर्चिंग, सो एट दैट टाइम द
Yes.
साइट डजंट वर्क, इट इज
Yes, the
स्टॉप्ड.
site doesn't work. Even there is one example of a DOS attack. Have you familiar with? Okay, I'll talk about some security
Yes,
also.
ma'am.
Yes, there is a DOS
Yes,
attack
ma'am.
which is called denial of service attack, right? So what will happen on that attack? Because it
Yes.
is happen because on that server request you are getting on that server is very huge that it can't handle, right? Because you are sending more requests. If you're sending more requests, that the server uh, goes through that can't handle, and it will shut down that server and it will not entertain any other request. So that's how, if you are not deal with the load balancing, then the server or the that thing which went off. Okay.
ओके मैम,
I hope.
ओके मैम.
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
okay. Okay, that's great. So, and there is one company, Encore. Have you familiar with the Encore company? This is very famous company.
No, ma'am.
Even they are doing these. Okay, this company is in Texas, and they have bought this IBM meter solution, and they have gained a very huge profit from this IBM meter solution. Okay, so this is company is very famous in Texas, and this is basically electric delivery company, and they have used this IBM meter services, and the customers in the Encore service territory, they have showed that the last year the company during the company biggest energy saver contest, that by the using the information from the Encore advanced meter, so they have maintained a huge profit from this. And from users, the benefits they are getting, the user reduce their electricity usage and their bills is reduced by 25%. So the users are happy with the Encore this IBM meter solution product, and that's why users are buying more on-call products than the electricity devices they are having. So that's how you can tell your company, you can gain business, or you can gain some these information from the insights, and you can build your company at a very high rate. Okay, so what they have done this on-call company, they have done only 3 things in that. First is instrumented. That is what they have done. They have applied these smart electricity meters to find to accurately measure that what is the electricity usage of a some household. Okay, so they have instrumented that. And in second, they have seen the interconnection. because they have to see that now everything is transparent, everything is wide. Now users can see what is the accurate information, the detailed information, how much electricity is getting used. So they are satisfied with that. Okay, I am using this, that's why I'm getting this bill. And third is they have used the intelligent devices. How? Because now consumer monitor also and control the electricity usage. So if I'm getting after 15 minutes, okay, my bill is increasing, so I don't need to use these much of electricity, or I don't need to use only one bulb or one fan for that. So we can control this electricity usage through these real time readings of electricity meters. So they have used this and they have gained very huge profit, if we can see that. So this is the one case study which we have done with the IBM census data, and there are many other companies also which are using this big data analytics, and they have gained very we can say that they are gaining very useful information and very huge profit also. So we have seen बहुत देख लिया big data. Now we will see because everything is loopholes also, right? There is no such thing which comes as a free lunch, right? So now we have to see what was the problem with the big data. So we have to see क्या क्या हमारे पास big data में problems आ रही थी. Then we can see how to remove this or how to deal with these problems also. Okay. Uh, so
Yes, ma'am,
so
one
first,
question.
yes sir.
Ma'am, one question was there. Shall I ask?
Yes, yes, yes,
Ma'am, like we are dealing with so much of large data. Like you have mentioned that 40 petabytes, it's there. So how the
yes.
storage of this data is like the cost is being maintained because the cost is
We
also
are,
going up.
yes, that's why we are coming on to that. So for that, we are using commodity hardware, we are using commodity software, and we are storing the data in the distributed file system, because there are huge amount of data, and these also help with the cloud also. So this
Yeah.
cloud, there is one question I want to give it you for tomorrow, that just write, there is one thing which I'll ask tomorrow, how cloud and big data is related. So it's, there is one question which I'll ask tomorrow. Just write it down and I'll ask tomorrow at the starting how big data, then you will understand how they are storing it. Okay. How big data and cloud are interrelated. Okay.
Basically, ma'am, the data, all the big data is stored on the cloud because it can be accessed uh,
Yes.
remotely also, and
Mm-hmm,
we don't have
mm-hmm.
to, we don't have to maintain the big servers and mainframe servers for
Yes,
this, and distributed servers can be used for that.
yes. And we are using the commodity. Even the cost is also reduced. How the cost is reduced? Because we are using this commodity software. Because commodity servers we are using for that. How, I'll explain just in a bit, because in big data, the problems which we are saying now, because storing exponentially huge data set. So what we are doing with, because how we can store this huge amount of data, because I already told you that these data is generated is more than the previous, even for a day, even we can see that the last day to from the last day, if we compare, the data today is huge than the last previous day. So by 2020, now we are having 44 zettabytes of data, and even at very every second we are generating 1.7 MB of data on the WhatsApp of every person. So see how we can store this exponential huge amount of data. This was the problem with the big data, how you can store that. Okay. So this was the first problem which big data has to solve. And the second problem which they have to see is the processing of these big data, because we already have seen that we have a variety of data. We have the structured data, we have semi-structured and the unstructured data, right? So for processing of this data, it will take a very huge amount of time. For example, if we are having 100 Mbps input output channels, right? And I have to process for 1 terabyte of these data. Or now tell me how much it will take the time. if we are having 100 Mbps of input output channel and 1 terabyte of data, then how much it will take for that? If you want to calculate, approximately tell me, not to give me the answer. If I want to process that,
5, 7, 8 hours. So something.
okay, you are saying 7-8 hours. What about others?
10,000 seconds.
10,000 seconds. Are you sure? Which server you are using for the processing? Because 10,000 seconds it will not take. Okay, I'll give you just idea. If you are having 100 Mbps input output channels and for processing of 1 terabytes of data, there would be around 43 minutes of processing of data if you're using the about normal processing, and which is if you're having this 43 minutes because you have to process the data. If we are having this much time for only processing 1 terabytes of data, but with the big data we have petabytes, zettabytes, these much amount of data, then but we need with the processing should be faster. अगर हमारे result ही processing ही time लगेगा, if some user came and he wants, we have a petabytes of data, if he wants some certain information और उसको वो उस time पर नहीं मिल रही है, it will get irritated, they will not come to my website, they will say it's not good because it is taking so much of time, so I'll not use it. तो मेरा product तो fail हो गया, it will not get used, right? So for this, the second the problem big data was the processing of this complex structure. So what we have to do for this? Okay, but first we'll discuss the problem, then we'll discuss the solution. So the problem with this big data, the third problem, which is the it should be processing that the data should be faster. Now see over here, what we have, the hard disk capacity, if we see that the hard disk capacity we can increase day by day, right? We are increasing this hard disk capacity, we are seeing that, but if we can see the performance, the disk transfer performance is get reduced if we are increasing the hard disk capacity. So if the hard disk capacity is increasing and the performance is decreasing, then there is no much use of that, because if you are storing huge amount of data and it is not coming fast rate, because we need at faster rate also, so the data is growing at much faster rate than its speed, so we need from that. Even if we have seen these example of the we have seen that we have the social media. So social media, even if you are using websites also, which we have seen that the websites of Amazon, yeah. So if you have seen that the website of Amazon, if they are not processing the data faster, which I gave you the example of iPhone 8 Plus and iPhone 11 cover, right? Have you remembered? I gave you the example. So if you
Yes,
don't
ma'am.
process data faster, so what will happen? They will the updation is not done and they will not update me with the recommendation. So what will happen? I'll not buy their product. So they will gain some. They will have their losses. So for this, the third problem was the processing of data faster, right? So these are the three problems. But we are having storing exponentially huge amount of data set, and the second is the because there are variety of data, so we have the processing complex that, and the third is the processing of the data faster, right? So for this, because we have to process the data faster. Now here comes the Hadoop. So this is
Excuse me, ma'am.
yes,
I want to ask you a question.
yes.
Uh, I've heard somewhere that, internet usage is actually destructing the nature a lot. So,
Okay.
I don't know if it's true or not. You can answer me. This is my first question. And second question is, if this is true, then why exactly, we are, going in the direction where we are generating more and more of the data?
Okay. Okay, tell me, I'll ask before answering your question, I'll ask you one question. What do you think? This artificial intelligence is good or bad?
Ma'am, good,
Uh,
good, ma'am.
Ma'am, probably I think this is not that good.
Okay, you know, everything has a pros and cons there. ठीक
Of
है?
course, ma'am.
Yeah, so everything has its pros and cons, and we have to pay the price for that. Now, if we talk about artificial intelligence, which I'll say that we are not at that level of artificial intelligence that we can build some that much good robot that it can over वो हमारे ऊपर what the word would should say that it can overcome us. Okay, so but have you seen the movies like Terminator and everything? In that movie, they have shown that if they are using that if we build that type of robots or that type of machinery, they will harm the humans, and that's the truth. If you build that amount that much of we can say the machines which has a good brain like a human, even a very good brain, much more good than the human, then it will obviously affect us. Okay,
Ma'am,
so
ma'am,
but
depend upon us that how we install,
yes,
what kind of
yes, but
information we are giving that.
yes, yes, yes. That's how I'm coming to. So if we say if we talk about tech, the industry like hospital or something, so in that way we can see there are some cons also and some pros also. That in in hospitals or in that if we use robot, they can find the cure, they can help operation. So everything has its cure and everything has its pros and cons. Now I'll come to your question. Now tell me, what is your question? Internet usages?
Ma'am, my question was internet usage is actually hampering the environment. It is leading to the destruction of the environment. This is what I have heard. I don't know if it's true or not. So
Now
this is
how
my first question.
okay, so tell me, how do you think it is affecting the environment?
Ma'am, when you talk about the clouds, they're storing a lot of space, and cloud actually nothing. It's just it is actually storing the data in the environment itself, in the air, something, and
Now
this it is just yeah.
how the data is storing in the air?
That I do not know how
No,
these things
cloud
are
is
happening.
not storing data in the air. They are using servers for that. Cloud is not just like कि आपका जो cloud आप बाहर वो देखते हो, it is not cloud like that. The server we are called cloud.
Ma'am, that
Okay.
one is online storage model, ma'am.
Yes, that is online because you are using real servers for that for storing your data. That is called cloud.
It is
Okay.
available, ma'am, it is available in mobile phone. You can store your data in that if your mobile is full of that stuff.
Yeah. And another person is saying something. Yes. Your voice is not clear, sir. It is very low.
She- Not audible that much.
Yeah, it because we can't hear you properly.
Yes,
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 right
yes.
now,
Now you
right
are
now.
clear.
Okay.
Then कितना time बोला मैंने?
Alternate current. Oh, right.
Okay, so you are saying because we are using that much of data centers and servers we are using, so they require okay AC for that. So that's how they are harming the environment. So there are some companies also which we are having, even they are causing some air pollution and that type of. So I already told you that there are some cons and pros of everything because we have to deal with everything. If you're using one system, it will give you some cons also. That the disadvantage they are using for that. So now data, the first question which you have seen, I told you, if we talk about that it is harming the environment, I told you that there are some other things which not directly to the environments we can say, but there is one example which already given by the sir, that we have to use many much of ACs, and which will indirectly give to the environment. But the same, there are some other companies, for example, are if they are building some glass, or some companies, they are also causing air pollution, water pollution, then we can't do according to that, right? And the second question was, what was the second question, dear?
Ma'am, I forgot my second question. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. So should we come back to Hadoop, or anyone want to ask some question?
No, ma'am. Carry on.
Okay.
Ma'am, I want to ask a question.
Yes.
Ma'am, in what ways do we store
Your voice is not clear, dear. Priyanka, your voice is not clear.
Ma'am, very low.
here now?
No,
Yes.
it sounds low.
Little bit.
Okay,
Okay, say it. We'll try to.
Ma'am, she can message it
in chat box.
in chat,
Okay.
and I will.
Okay, Prabhakar was saying my voice is not clear. Everyone is, my voice is shaking. It's not clear to everyone.
No,
Your
ma'am.
voice is
Your
clear, ma'am.
voice is absolutely right, ma'am.
Okay.
Audible. Audible.
Okay, when sometimes it breaks, whenever it breaks, let me know. I'll explain further. Okay.
Ma'am, her question was, in what ways do we store data on servers and in cloud?
Yes. So for this, I'll explain you and teach you how you can store your data on these servers and cloud. We will create server. We will create one server on which we will store one which will on which we will be storing our data. And how we can store data on cloud? We are using data centers for that. ठीक है? वी आर यूजिंग जस्ट लाइक योर कंप्यूटर व्हाट यू हैव, जैसे आप कंप्यूटर में अपने डेटा स्टोर करते हो, ठीक है? आप क्या करते हो, उसके अंदर हार्ड डिस्क होती है, ठीक है? आपका जो सारा डेटा है वो कहाँ पर जा रहा है, आपकी हार्ड डिस्क के अंदर जा रहा है। वैसे ही वी हैव डेटा सेंटर्स। क्लाउड को क्या हमने बोला, इट्स जस्ट लाइक अ सर्वर, दे आर प्रोवाइडिंग। क्लाउड करता क्या है, दे आर हैविंग दी सर्विसेज एज पैस एंड सैस। So these are the services which cloud is providing, and what they are doing, they are having they are maintaining some servers, and they, in their data centers, and they have connected their data center according to the territory and the region they are having. So what they'll do, when you are asked the data, when you in first example I'll give you, this cloud is your Gmail and the Dropbox. if you are familiar with the Dropbox example, what you'll do, even your Gmail, अगर आप अपने Gmail पे आपने अपनी मेल सेंड की है, इवन बिफोर आपकी जो 2 साल पहले भी वाली भी मेल होगी, वो भी उस पर पड़ी होगी, अगर आप चेक करोगे। कभी फाइंड किया आपने?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
तो क्या होता है, ये डाटा आपका कहाँ पर स्टोर है, दे आर स्टोरिंग इन द क्लाउड। So how they are storing, they have maintained their servers in their data center, जहां पर क्या कर रहे हैं, जैसे आपकी हार्ड डिस्क वगैरह होती है, दे आर मेंटेनिंग द डेटा वहां पर सर्वर्स में, वो वैसे उसमें स्टोर कर रहे हैं। बट आप कैसे एक्सेस कर रहे हो, नाउ यू आर नॉट स्टोरिंग द डेटा ऑन टू योर सिस्टम। आप अपने सिस्टम की हार्ड डिस्क पर स्टोर नहीं कर रहे हो, क्लाउड में स्टोर कर रहे हो यूजिंग देयर इंटरफेस, जैसे ड्रॉपबॉक्स हो गया, जीमेल हो गया। और वो जब आप वहां पर स्टोर करते हो, एक्चुअली में जो उसके पीछे सर्वर है वहां पर स्टोर होता है। और सर्वर बेसिकली कुछ नहीं होता है, एक कंप्यूटर और मशीन्स होती हैं, और कुछ नहीं होता। ठीक है? इज इट क्लियर?
Yes, ma'am.
ओके, आई होप दिस मच इज क्लियर। और जब हम सर्वर बनाएंगे ना हडूप का, तब आपको और भी ज्यादा क्लियर हो जाएगा। इवन योर सिस्टम विल वर्क एज ए हडूप, जिसमें आप डेटा की प्रोसेसिंग और बिग डेटा को स्टोर कर सकते हो। ओके
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
ओके, दैट्स ग्रेट। नाउ अब हमारे पास क्या है, वी आर यूज नाउ द सॉल्यूशन, द प्रॉब्लम्स वी हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस्ड। The problem which we have already discussed is that three problems which we are facing, and the answer for that solution is the Hadoop. Now we have various framework. We have Hadoop, Apache Spark. So there are various framework for this, but Hadoop is the best one, and it is the framework that allows us that we can store and the process the various large amount of data sets in the parallel and the distributed fashion. It will take you some time to guess these things. Now I'll just learn these two things, that your Hadoop is your two things which you have to learn in Hadoop. First is the HDFS, that is the storage. Because we don't know how to store these huge amount of data for that. So what they have done at Hadoop, they have maintained distributed file system. H is your Hadoop, and they have maintained this distributed file system in which what you can do, it will allow you can dump any kind of data across your cluster. So if you have maintained this distributed file system, it will help you. And even you can use the commodity hardware for that, which will again cost you less. So this is the advantage of this that you can use over here. And the second one is the map reduce. For this now you need the processing, because your data है आपका processing के time पर it is taking up so much of time, and you need that processing of data, it should be at the faster rate. So if you want the data, the processing of the data should be at the faster rate. So what will done, they have launched the concept of map reduce, in which what they have done, they have using the concept parallel processing, that the all the data they have done the parallel processing, which is stored in the HDFS. So that ultimately increases the speed. But how they are doing it? First, what we'll do, we will create Hadoop. We will create Hadoop cluster. पहले हम उसको install करेंगे Hadoop को, and in that, what we'll do, we will create HDFS, that is Hadoop Distributed File System, for the storage. And second is the map reduce, that if you want to processing of the data, how the processing of the data occurs in the map reduce, we will see that. But that we will see in the tomorrow session. But for now, what you have to see, that we have to use Hadoop framework for which will remove the limitation of your big data, that was the storage and the processing. So these problems are removed by the Hadoop framework, which allows us that we can store and the process this large data in a parallel and the distributed fashion. I'll explain that how it will use that. Wait. Yes. Now see over here, we have this okay, this we will see in okay, I'll just give you an idea. So in Hadoop distributed file system, what will they do, they will create a level of abstraction. Okay, so they will give you the abstraction idea, that you have these amount of resources, and from where you can use that, you can see your HDFS as a single unit. But instead of that, what we have, we are using these data nodes, we are having the multiple distributed systems. So if you want to store some data, it will store either on this, because they have to store on the distributed system, right? So if one node is your down, so that you can use the second node as a backup for that. So it will not go okay, according to that. So see over here, for this, just for the time being, just remember this, that you are using Hadoop distributed file system, and it provides you an abstraction level over the resources, that you have this amount of resources from there. And first we node we are having, that this is the master node, that we can say it is name node. The name, it has two core components. Your HDFS has two core components. First is the name node, and second one is the data node. So first it will interact with the name node. So name node is the your main node that contains your metadata about your data stored. Now, what do you mean by metadata? And okay, I'll ask after this. And the data nodes are the nodes on which the actual data is stored, right? And I told you that they are using the commodity hardware in the distributed environment, so they are very not that high. If अगर आपने बहुत hi-fi servers वगैरह भी use करने हैं, तो उनकी अगर comparison करें, we have the less cost of this. Even we have the problem with the अगर स्टोर करना है ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ डेटा को, तो उसके लिए दैट्स व्हाई वी हैव कम विद द डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड. अगर आपने क्या करना है, दे हैव रिमूव द डिसएडवांटेज. फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ यू आर इन्वेस्टिंग सम गुड सर्वर, आपको क्या करना है, एक सर्वर बाय करना है दैट कैन स्टोर ओनली 10 terabytes of data. But what happen if you have stored 10 terabytes of data, and after the exhaustion of that storage, what you can do? After the 10 terabytes of data, I can't store any more data into that. Then what I'll do? My server will not have that much of use because I want to store much more of data. So that's why they have come with the concept of this Hadoop distributed file system, in which what we are doing, we are creating a many distributed data nodes on which we are storing that our data, and in this we are storing the data and by using this commodity hardware, so we are saving the cost also. So this is the concept. Now I was asking one question. Yes, tell me what is metadata. Okay, someone, okay, Gunika is right. Yeah, Shelly is saying data about data. Yeah, that is also right. Okay, so
Ma'am,
data about data. Yes,
ma'am, is some sort of identifier for a data.
Ma'am, what
yes.
was
For
your question?
tagging, we use metadata.
Yes. So I hope you get some insight what we are having. Just example, the index we are having. For example, if you are having a book, so you are having the index at the starting. So it will tell which page number and which topic you are having at this page number. So it will tell you कौन सी node में कौन सा data stored है. But actual में data is stored, वो आपका कहाँ पर store होगा? Data node में. So I hope only this much is clear to everyone, because we will go deep in tomorrow. Okay. So just try to understand HDFS system, because you have to be familiar with these terms also, right? Now, see over here, storing data. I told you problem one was that we have to store exponentially and the data is very huge. So for this, see over here, the solution is the HDFS, that is the storage unit of Hadoop, which they are using, and it is a distributed file system. And to divide the file, what we are doing, we are dividing the file into the smaller chunks and we are storing it across the cluster. Now see over here, if we are having one file which is of 512 MB, and we are dividing into a four chunks, 128 MB, 128, and we are storing that files into distributed file system. So then that's how it is work. How actually it works, we will implement that, then you got to know. And it is scalable as per our requirement. So that's why the first solution of our problem that was faced by the big data was this. And the second problem which we were facing is the storing unstructured data, because we if you use, okay, tell me earlier traditional system, how the data is being stored. There were some because before big data, how we were storing the data.
RDBMS, relational database.
Yes, RDBMS, SQL, these are the
Manually and RDBMS.
okay. So how they were storing unstructured data?
Non-relational databases.
Okay, Archit is saying Cassandra. You know what, Archit, what is Cassandra? Yes, tell me what is Cassandra? I was happy that you were saying Cassandra. Okay, say it. I didn't see your message. Archit? Yes, I can't hear you. Your voice is coming very low. I can't hear you properly. You can type your answer in chat box.
Ma'am, you are not audible now.
Okay, am I audible now? Okay, someone is okay for the processing. Okay, Cassandra, I was asking you, someone has answered because I was asking why. Because your RDBMS is a relational database, that is a SQL database, and your Cassandra is a NoSQL database. So you have to understand what is the NoSQL database and what is SQL database. Now I'll tell you somewhat about Cassandra, that this is Cassandra is basically used for your high speed processing, because this is advantage, that is a NoSQL database, and if you want to perform online transactional data processing, that we can do on Cassandra. But Hadoop is your big data analytics system. Okay, and in this we are mainly focused on data collection and how we are processing the data. So you need to understand that how we can see over here. So these are the frameworks, even because Cassandra is very good framework if you want to process your NoSQL data, and also they are using distributed file system as well. So that is also now come back to this storing unstructured data, because for storing unstructured data, what we have, because they HDFS again, they have allowed us that we can store any kind of data, like structured data, semi-structured data, and unstructured data. You, if you have any type of data, you can store it into HDFS, and it follows. I'll explain you this is architecture. The architecture of Hadoop I will explain you in tomorrow class, that will explain कि ये काम कैसे करता है, because HDFS they have used various worms or read only, how this read only has occurred, how write only has occurred. There are many forms and why they have used it. Just remember, for now they have followed this worm, that is write once, read many. So they'll only write the data at one time, and you can read the data at many times. So they're basically working on that. Why it is working on that, I'll explain you in depth tomorrow, because we are going to cover this architecture. We'll explain you one by one. And there is no schema validation, because there is such nothing like that you have to follow this much validation, that it should be in the table format or in some format. So there is no schema. That's why you know that how you just have to store, you have to just put the file, you have to store the data, you have to just dump the data. So the second solution again is provided by the HDFS solution, that is the Hadoop distributed file system. Now the third problem which were faced by the big data is the processing of the data faster, right? Because we need to process the data faster. So for this, I already told you that it is done by the Hadoop MapReduce. Right. Now see over here in Hadoop MapReduce, what we are doing, this concept basically come from the Google. I'll tell you how this is came from the Google, because what they have to done. So just remember for the time being that it is providing the parallel processing, because the data processing in every field, see over here, the data processing in different data nodes. So what you have to do, you have to process the data at very faster rate. So the node, at every node, they are the data which is having uh, what they have, the data at present is every node, what they are doing, it will execute at the parallel rate. Okay, so when they are executing these all the data at a parallel time, what will have done, when they are done at the parallel time, it will take less time, right? So if you're having data at different nodes and they are processing it parallelly, so automatically it will take a lesser time. That's why they are processing these data at a very faster rate. Okay, and that's why they allow that you can process your data locally, because you are having the data node. So the each node which is data, they can process it and they will return it to the name node, and then it will give to the user. So that's the very main advantage of that. Okay, so everyone is asking for the break. So but your class, it would be around 4 to 6, and 6 to 7 there would be your attendance, or one your doubt session or your online quiz will going to happen. So 6 to 7 the events that are going to happen, and we have the class from 4 to 6. So still, do you need 2 minutes or 3 minutes break? I don't want to bore you, because I want you to get some useful information from the
Yes,
session.
yes, ma'am. One query.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Otherwise, session is very interesting and interactive one. But you said that we need only Linux for
No, no,
installation.
I didn't say. I am saying that because for building the server, for building the Hadoop, we
Yes.
are going to implement it on Ubuntu. So for that, we are going to use Linux.
But yeah, on my laptop, there's one technical issue. I'm having only 2 GB RAM and Windows 10 is already installed on my system. And I think it's not feasible for me to install VMware. Na. It would definitely.
No, no, no. If you will install VMware onto your system, then your system will hang and it will not, even your Windows will not work properly.
Yes, ma'am. So is it any other alternate solution if I install it on Windows with some
Yes, sir. You
software?
can dual boot.
But I'll not prefer if I'll check online solution if you can, because there are many other online services there. CloudXera, there is one online platform, but I guess they provide some trial basis,
Okay,
because
ma'am.
on Windows
Um,
there is not possible, because you can't implement Hadoop on Windows. So for that, what you have to do, you can use online just like cloud. You have services they are providing. They have already built Hadoop. They have implemented Hadoop, CloudX or something. There is one website which is very good, but that is on trial basis for 14 days, and after 14 days, I guess you have to pay for that.
Okay,
ma'am,
ma'am. During session, I think for hands-on, I can do on cloud.
So you can do that on cloud.
Yes. Okay.
ma'am,
Yes,
Can we
sir.
use Hadoop
uh,
on 4 GB RAM Windows laptop?
Oh, yes, Shakti. Are you? Yes, you are saying something.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, my question is that presently I am using a Windows, so
Uh,
my laptop RAM is 4 GB. So
okay.
can is any way to use Hadoop framework on Windows operating
I
system?
told you, if you, because there are big data frameworks like Apache Spark that you can implement on your Windows platform, because it will give you that you have a hypothetical server. But if you want to build Hadoop onto your system, because either for this we can build on HCL or on Ubuntu, because we have to create this HDFS and we have to create this MapReduce, and these are things which we only perform because which we can perform this on the Linux server. We can't really perform in this on Windows, because there are basically every server basically they are on the Linux based. You know why basically most of the servers are Linux based?
Ma'am, it is secure.
Okay, and the other reason?
Open source.
Ma'am, open
Yeah,
source
it is also we can
free
that
of cost.
free of cost.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
but we have another things
ma'am,
And
also,
secure, more secure.
more
ma'am,
secure. Hmm.
uh, a POSIX environment is very powerful because you have powerful pipelines
Yes.
and stuff in the Linux command line compared to
Yes.
Windows and DOS.
Yes, so that's but now if you want to install Windows, you can. But I told you now the reason why we are using on this installation on the Linux platform, because there are many reasons we need to use Linux platform for that. Every other जो आपके जितने भी servers वगैरह होते हैं, mostly they are Linux based. First reason is the security, and they have the hardware also. So there are many things which you need to be considered. So we prefer mostly the server should be on the Linux based. That's why we have written over there that we will install it on the Ubuntu machine for that. Right.
Okay, ma'am.
So
Ma'am,
if you want to, I'll give you one PDF from which you can follow. But if you'll say that we have to implement this Hadoop on the Windows as well as on the that we can say that in my Linux system, then we can only do one installation. So we should be what we'll do first on the Linux, and if we got time, then I'll try. But otherwise, I'll give you some steps also how you can do that on the Windows. I'll prefer you to everyone that you should install Linux, as it is much better to install on Linux as compared to your Windows. Okay?
Okay,
As
ma'am.
it is
4GB.
very heavy also. Have you heard that one server which we are having? Even Android Studio, that is also
Yes,
very
ma'am.
very heavy software. अगर आपने वो
Yes.
भी इंस्टॉल कर रखा है तब भी आपका सिस्टम बहुत हैंग करेगा. राइट सो अगर आप विंडोज में ही इसको कर देंगे दैट्स व्हाई यू शुड मेंटेन अ वर्चुअल कि वो कभी ही आपका चले दैट इट विल नॉट हार्म योर विंडोज ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम द एग्जीक्यूशन और द प्रोसेसिंग राइट
Ma'am, 4GB RAM is enough for this framework?
Yes, 4 GB. That's why we are using virtualization software. Otherwise, it is not sufficient. But in the virtualization software, we will give that we will give the virtual memory. We will tell him that we have much more amount of memory for that. That's why we are using virtualization.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, Vaibhav is asking Mac. Okay, again you need to install virtualization software in that Mac, Vaibhav. Okay, so any other question?
As you said, keep using parallel processing for data processing.
Yes.
Ma'am, we can use virtual memory concept in this also, ma'am.
Okay, tell me how you can use virtual memory concept. We are using in the name node ना HDFS में हम कर रहे हैं different name nodes हम बना रहे हैं सब पे कर रहे हैं. We are having
ma'am.
different name nodes ना
Yes,
data
ma'am.
nodes. We are having different data nodes for that, right?
Ma'am, can you please explain how parallel processing is done in this?
Yeah, I'll explain. अब इसमें देखो parallel processing में you have a different nodes. You have different data nodes 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Now this data node is having 128 MB of data. This is also having 128 MB. Every node is having 128 MB of data. Now you have to process that. Now what will do? अगर हमारे पास एक ही सिस्टम होता और उसके अंदर कितना डेटा होता, फॉर एग्जाम्पल 512 MB ऑफ डेटा होता, तो उसको एक साथ करने में कितना टाइम लगेगा. और अगर मैंने एक ही टास्क 4 पर्सन में डिवाइड कर दिया है छोटे छोटे उसमें चंक्स में, तो वो चार काम जो 4 पर्सन हैं वो कम टाइम लगाएंगे काम करने में, है ना? कि
Yes, ma'am.
अगर मैंने एक पर्सन को दिया वो ज्यादा टाइम लगाएगा काम करने में. यस.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is how parallel processing is doing.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, great, Deepika. So shall we move forward?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, great. So this is the Hadoop ecosystem. Now, tell me, have you familiar with this? We have say that HDFS हो गया हमारे पास storage के लिए, but we have different tools also for maintaining this. We have Apache Spark, we have Storm, we have which we have Hive, HBase. So we have many different tools for that. Now see over here in this first. Okay, let me tell you one interesting fact first of all. You know there is a symbol यहाँ पर everyone can see there is small elephant, yellow elephant we are seeing over here. Can you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
The symbol of Hadoop is a small elephant of this yellow elephant. Now, do you know why the symbol or the logo they have used for Hadoop is elephant? Why they have used this yellow elephant? Otherwise they have not logical for this. उनका कोई logic नहीं है बनाने के लिए, but they have just a fun fact. So that's why I'm sharing it with you. Tell me, anyone know?
Ma'am, I think elephant is a big animal, so it represents that it is a big data.
Okay. Okay, but that's a good logic which you have built, but it's not like that. It's the main reason. Yes, someone has answered. That is correct. I don't remember what you have written over here. Uh, the main for this is there is no logic behind using this elephant. The developer who had made this Hadoop, so his son, the developer's son, is having a small he's having a small this cute elephant as a toy in his house. So his child loves his toy very much. So for giving the name to his child or for giving such memory to them, so they have used this elephant as a logo for this. So there is no such logic. They have built, even authors write their name for. अब जैसे Linux का name कैसे पड़ा? The Linux has developed by Linus Torvalds. So they have given the name, अपना ही name उन्होंने Linux को दे दिया as. तो यहाँ पर भी they have not yet used any logic, उन्होंने ऐसे ही दे दिया उसे. So this was the fun fact, right? Okay, let's see its ecosystem. In this, we are having many tools, and you have to explore these tools also. In which, what we are doing, Hadoop, we have already seen that we have to process data in parallel and distributed fashion also. And in Hive, what we have done, there is another thing, data tool, Hadoop tool, which we are having is the Apache Hive. And this is all basically the data warehousing tool if you want to analyze the data, so for performing the big data analytics, because Hadoop is the storage system which you have to use, right? But on that, for performing the big data analytics, we are using this Hive tool. So it is basically a data warehousing tools that allows you that you can perform big data analytics by using this Hive query. And they have a specific language for that, for performing the analytics. So they have a language called Hive query language, and it is basically similar to your SQL language. So your SQL comes over here, that you need to be familiar with the SQL language, that is your structure, right? Now you have a Apache Pig also, that another platform we are. I'll explain you which platform is using for which purpose. So for this Apache Pig, we have when we want to analyze the large data sets. So that at that time we are using the Apache Pig. And when you have to Apache Hive, when you perform some data warehousing, that is the data collection, and then you have to do. So there are different tools which we are having, and another is a Apache Spark. And mostly the companies are using Apache Spark. Why they are using? Because nowadays the streaming data is very much in use. Now the streaming data is like you are getting the real time data. You are getting YouTube data, you are getting Twitter data. That is the real time data, and you have to process it very quickly. Because if you are done at that time, because you have to, अगर आपका कोई मैच भी चल रहा है इवन, वो स्ट्रीम हो रहा है आपका डेटा, और आपको अभी उसी टाइम ही क्या करना है, यू हैव टू शो इट टू द अदर पीपल्स कि दिस इज मच द स्कोर, दिस person has scored this, or the what is the score for the this match. So this is the real time data or the streaming of this data, and it is done very good with the accurate value by the Apache Spark, right? So the Apache Spark is basically used for that. And another, we have the Apache HBase tool, and this is a NoSQL database tool. So if you want to perform NoSQL data, that will allow you to, that you can store structured and the semi-structured data. So for that, we are having the Apache HBase. So these are the tools which we are having for this. So every tool is having a specific meaning, and when to you have to use that tool, you have to see. So these ecosystem they are having over here: the
Ma'am,
Hadoop, the Hive, the
slide is
Spig,
not visible, ma'am.
Spark.
Slide is
The
not visible.
slide is not visible.
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
It's
It is
visible,
It
ma'am.
is
visible
visible,
right
ma'am.
now. It is
Absolutely.
visible right now.
From your
Okay,
side,
but
And there is some
okay,
network issue from his side.
Ma'am, I have a question, ma'am.
yes,
Ma'am, Hadoop framework is basically used for the storing and the processing of data.
yes,
It is not used for the analysis of data.
yes. They are not big for analysis of data. You have to use these tools. They see
So,
over
ma'am,
here,
in
because this is
future,
the ecosystem. Now on HDFS, so every other software which you have to use, Apache Hive, Apache Pig, they are installed on the this HDFS system, on this Hadoop system. Now,
yes, ma'am. Ma'am, in future, we are dealing with the big data analysis. If we want to analyze the data, then we can move on Apache or Spark Apache framework.
Yes, Apache Spark framework, you can move on that. Even for Apache Spark, there is no need to implement Hadoop. Look, I told you if you want to perform, even Apache Spark is itself is a big framework which will provide you that you can use in different languages for performing analysis. You can either use in Java, but basically they have Scala language that is the basically their native language. But even if you are familiar with the Python language, Scala language, Java language, you can perform with the Apache Spark. And mostly companies like YouTube or these which they want to perform real-time streaming data on work on that, so they are using this Apache Spark, and this is done very good in that.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, any other? So this is the conceptual architecture of big data analytics. What you have to do, these are the big data sources from internal, external, whatever the sources you are having. From that, you can generate this huge amount of data. What you have to do, from here you are having these raw data. So you have to apply this ETL to it. That is, you have to apply extract, transform, and the load operation. That is the transformation you have to apply. First, you will extract the data, and then you will transform the data, and then you can load the data. After that, when you have transformed the data into such format, then there comes into limelight of big data platforms and the tools. So in this, we are having Hadoop. So these are the tools you can see over there, and no need for you to implement every tool and to go through every tool, because there is not possibility that we have to learn every tool for that. Just see the things that which tool is using for the which purpose, then according to your purpose we are going to run on that. But for this course we are going to see Hive also, HBase also. So because we have a time, so we will go through mostly of the tools. We got Hadoop, MapReduce, we'll go with the Hive, we will go with the HBase also. So there are other also tools which are depend on this. That is Zookeeper, Cassandra. Cassandra I already told you, that is a NoSQL database for processing, and it is again the distributed system. So it is again good, and on itself it is basically, if you are working on one system, if you want to, after this course, if you want to apply for the job also, even if you are familiar with the one framework, you can get the job, because for one framework some companies who are working in Cassandra will hire you if you have a knowledge about Cassandra, or if you have knowledge about Pig or Hive. So there are a lot of opportunities after this course, or after this big data, if you understand this big data. So for this big data analytics, these are the application. You can generate queries also, you can generate reports also, you can mine your data, and you can perform this OLAP. So these are the techniques. So in data warehousing, what you have to do, you have to check who, what, when, where, why. So these are the things which we are doing in the data warehousing. And in the OLAP, the applications in is this, we are using the drill down, up and down, etc. That we are finding how we can check the data in this. And the in data, what we have to do, uh, in data mining we have to find some patterns, and we have to see, we have to predict, or we have to estimate some query, or some things which I want to find out from it. So we have to classify the data into many forms. So these are the things which we are doing in the data mining. And we have decision support system also, which you can say that how your decision is taking, how you are supporting that system. And again is the expert system. So these are the analytic techniques which they have in this. So these are the characteristics of big data framework. So first is that they are supporting a many multiple of data types, because many organizations we are having, they are incorporating or expect to incorporate all types of data. As I told you, we have structured data, we have unstructured, we have semi-structured. So these are type of data. So this is the one advantage. And second, I told you, if you want to implement real-time processing of data, like YouTube and Twitter, so you can also do that. And you can utilize what already exists in your environment also. So if you want to get the right context, so it may be important to leverage that existing data and the algorithms in the big data analysis framework, right? So and also they are supporting NoSQL. So because there are some drawbacks of the SQL, that is the structured query language, if you're using. So that's why they are also providing you the NoSQL database also. And another new form of accessing the database also. So you can also use SQL and the NoSQL. It depends on you how you want to use that. And the another characteristic is that it is providing you the low latency. That if you're going to be deal with the high data velocity, then what you have to do, you are going to be need a framework for that, so that can support your requirements for your speed and your performance. So that is provided by the big data, right? And the storage, I told you that how you are using commodity hardware for that, so that is again the cost is reduced over here. And integrate with the cloud deployments, I already gave you the task for tomorrow. You have to see how big data and cloud is interrelated. So we'll see this point tomorrow, or we'll discuss that point. Now tell me, everything which we have covered till now is clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, that's
Yes,
great.
ma'am.
Okay. So let's summarize today's session. Okay, Vamsi is saying explain characteristics. Which characteristic you want me to explain again? Okay, just a brief about. Okay. So in characteristics of big data framework, what they are having, they are first is they are supporting multiple data types. I already told you that we are to deal with the very different types of data, like structured data, semi-structured data, and the unstructured data. So if you have to deal with that amount, that kind of data, that is only done by the big data. And the second is you can handle the real-time data stream. So for handling the real-time data streams, what you have to do, we have the Apache Spark, right? Like I told you the example of Twitter and the YouTube. So for this, you can perform real-time streaming data and utilize what already exists in your environment. So if you have some data in your environment, just apply some algorithm and perform the analysis over that. You can even do that. And it suppose NoSQL and another form of accessing the data. If you want to continue SQL, you can do that. If you want to perform NoSQL database, then you can also do that because it works good with the NoSQL database also. And it also come with the overcome low latency, that if you are going to be deal with the high data, if you're having the velocity of the data is very high, then this is the system which is providing you the framework which will give you the high speed also and the good performance also. And as I told you, in HDFS we are using commodity hardware, so that is a cheap as compared to the servers which is specific for storage purpose we are using. So that server is the cost of that server is high as compared to the commodity hardware. And the last step is the deployment. Integrate even big data work with the cloud. So how big data work with the cloud, that you have to see, and that I'll ask you tomorrow. So that is the question which I gave you. Okay. So is it clear which the person has asked? So see what we have done today. So we have seen how the big data has come into limelight, how the data is generating, why it is called big data, what are the 5 V's of big data we have already seen, and we don't know how many they are coming. And big data as an opportunity in the career aspects also. And we have seen one case study also as a smart meter, which is implemented by the IBM and which has gained by the Encore, which has gained the profits by the Encore company, which is in the Texas. So this we have already seen. And what are the problems? Because everything has cons. So the problems with the big data, what are the problems they were facing when they have launched this big data? And what is the solution they are providing with problems? So we have seen that also, and we have seen that what are the various tools which we have to perform it, right? So these are the tools which we want to perform it, and this is the architecture. So these all we will study in upcoming session. So these the basic idea what we have and what we are going to do in that. Okay. Okay, Priyanka Singla has asked some question. Wait, Priyanka, I'll check what is your question. Okay, kindly share PPT. This is. Oh no, ये तो someone has sent. What is your question, Priyanka? Okay, so this was the now the time for let's check. Okay, you are an electronic engineer, Priyanka. Okay, great. Then what is your question? Yes, Priyanka, this course is helpful to you very much. Even you are from any background, so you can make career in the big data. So you will actually see how the big data is. I already told you as an opportunity how you can see that. Even various my students from even from electronics or even from another background, even from civil background, they are doing these courses to take their jobs because they are very because technology is changing very rapidly, and these technology like machine learning, artificial intelligence, and big data, cloud computing, so these are the courses which are having a huge we can say that in the company, which are having the huge demand in the company. So if you want to get some good if you want to go to some good company, and if you want to do some research, or if you want to do if you want to work in the IT field, even if you are from the that field from the electronics, you don't need to be shy, or you don't need to be fear from that. You will learn in various things from this, and you will get a good job after this. When you can learn various things after this course, you can actually see how server is doing, how server is building from this. So there is no problem even if you are from electronics background or any other background. Yes, you will understand, Priyanka, because I will explain you from the basic to the advanced, because we will start it from the scratch, because that's why this course is for 1 month, because we are starting from the scratch. So don't worry about if you don't know anything about this. Don't worry, because okay, so we will start it from the scratch, right? Okay, no problem, Priyanka. Yes, anyone is having question? Yes, participants, you can ask questions also.
Yes, ma'am.
If
My
you have
question
any question,
that
yes,
could be
yes, yes.
that could be unusual, miss.
Arth, open the door.
Ma'am, for mechanical,
Okay, okay.
we can go in so many area, means like ma'am,
Yes.
I'm not small
maintenance
kid
and each everything.
like you.
So I'm interested in piping and equipment. Okay, ma'am.
Okay,
So
okay,
how
okay.
it can helpful big data, means how it can helpful in
Now
piping
see
and
for
equipment.
piping and equipment. Okay, first tell me what is in that piping and equipment, because I don't have idea about that. So if I understand your
Ma'am,
problem, then I can give you the solution.
awesome. Ma'am, it is a part of mechanical, ma'am. Ma'am, it is, ma'am, when the person who go for overseas, means in
Okay,
Gulf country, so
okay.
there is for taking oil from the under the earth, so there is a requirement of piping, and carry heavy machinery. So there is an equipment for so having knowledge of equipment. So I want to know about that, where it work, means it is big data that.
I don't understand that. Okay, I just only understand that you are having the heavy machinery. Then what,
Yeah,
if you're going to overseas, then what after that? I don't understand.
okay, ma'am. misuses of that big data. That I don't think that it will work in piping and equipment. It can, it could, for we can understand that we can create the make a design of that piping, or some make it easy way, but I don't
Yeah.
think
So
that
if
it would
that
be.
machinery, yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, please go ahead, ma'am.
So if your machinery, matlab, your machinery is generating some data or something, is it happening? Your what kind of machines you are using for that?
Ma'am, just lifting any, just like a lift, a steel, from one place to another, when
Okay.
like that.
Yeah. So they are using that BPCL are also using big data for piping
Yes, ma'am.
and petroleum. So they are saying,
Yes,
Archit is
ma'am. That's
saying that it is using big data for that. Yeah. So we have to see that what, because see, not only in IT field, because see over here, even for hospital, that in the medical field, even in the banking system, so there are many system in which we are using this big data now. So even for that, even from the that background, you can use the big data also there. Just you need to find where you have to use, what is your requirement, and from that how you can use, either for the storage purpose, or either for the processing purpose you need, or either for the analysis purpose for you that.
He
understand,
told
ma'am. I understand.
about piping for oil. No?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, analytics is useful for predicting how much depth we have to dig in order to get the oil. It is useful in every domain. No?
Yes, yes, sir. Absolutely.
Um,
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes, sir.
Uh, so I have seen multiple startups. So like when they have very less amount of data, some of them go for for Hadoop and clustering, like right from the beginning. But then I have
Okay.
heard some people say that first you should start small and only scale it up when the need comes. So when should one realize that now it's the time for scaling it up and use distributed system like Hadoop rather than something like MySQL?
Yes, that's why I told you that the basic your question is when you can say na the big data. So if your data is processing easily with the help of, if your data, because when you have the startup company, your data is small, right? And if you want to process it, you want to retrieve information, which is again very less. So it will process it very quickly and give it to you. So there is no problem with that. But if you're having unstructured data and that semi-structured data, then you might get some problem for that. So if you're facing that problem with the unstructured and semi-structured data, then you can also move to the Hadoop ecosystem, or otherwise, if you have more than that petabytes, I told you now, if you are having in the data in the petabytes, then only if the volume is very large. So these are the two things which you have to remember. Otherwise, if you are in startup phase, because the data is less and the processing is less, so at that time you don't need to install this Hadoop for that.
I see. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, there are some questions in the chat box. I'll go through that.
I have a question, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Inside this course, which programming language we will use, like Python, Java, or R programming language?
uh, R programming will be used. We will teach you R programming. And for this, first, I told you that the installation part we will done on the Hadoop, that is done on the Linux, and that can be done with the Linux commands. And after that, we will see HDFS, how we can install that, its functionality. Then we can see map reduce. Even for performing the map reduce, you can perform it with the help of the Java language also. If you want to do that map reducing concepts, like how you can do that. So that basically depends on different languages also, if you want to perform in Python or if you want to perform in Java. So that is the basic importance of the, or we can say the advantage of the map reduce if you want to perform in some specific language. So if you are comfortable, because I'll show you one example of Java language also with the Python language also, and the R language also, right? So if you familiar, because everyone is not familiar with the R language or the Python language or the Java language. So we'll cover one example and we will go in detail in the R language. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, we are doing project in this course. One, Vamsi. Yes, we will. So everyone is clear. So there is no question from participant side, or is there any question from participants? Okay, I hope everyone queries has been answered and everyone is enjoyed the today's session.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's great. So let me ask for your attendance, and yes, I will share the PPT. Don't worry about that.
Thank you so much, Shruti ma'am, for such an informational lecture on big data. And participants, for your attendance, I'll be uploading a Google form. You need to answer that. There are 5 questions that you need to answer for every day, and you'll have to answer that along with your email ID and roll numbers. This roll numbers has been communicated to you in your mailbox only. So please enter your that specified roll number only. Don't write on any your university ID or any other ID. The roll numbers that has been communicated to you via R and in your mailbox, you need to write that. And I'm uploading the link. The same will be there in your WhatsApp group as well. So the link will be active only for 10 minutes from now. So it is 6:15. We'll open it today till 6:30, but regularly it will be open for 10 minutes only. I hope the instructions regarding the attendance are clear with you, everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
The same procedure
Ma'am,
will be there till 13th of January till we end our course. Yes, Umesh? Okay. 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 Sir, is it possible to be that the quiz is done today, or you want the same to be done at 7 every day? Okay. Okay, sir. Sure, we'll do that. Sir, we'll open it today till 7 o'clock, being the first day, but for next time, we'll open it for maximum 15 minutes. I hope that will be fine with everyone.
hello, ma'am.
Yes, Ashish?
when I filled the form. So I got the
Okay.
email, and in that email, my name was not there, and roll number was
Okay.
also not there.
Okay, so can you okay, can you type your details in the chat window so that we can send you an email regarding your roll number?
Yes, ma'am. Pardon?
Uh, can you send me your email details so that we can send you that roll number
Okay.
in the chat window?
Okay.
So for you who haven't got the email regarding the roll numbers, you all can send your email addresses in the chat window, and then we'll send you the mail regarding the roll numbers. Is there anyone else who haven't got the roll numbers? Okay, for those who are there having any issue regarding the roll numbers and everything, please write in the chat window. We'll fetch your mail IDs from there.
एक्सक्यूज मी मैम मैम जो आपने पीडीएफ हमें
Yes.
व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में सेंड किया है उसमें हमारे रोल नंबर हैं
Okay.
वो वाले डालने हैं
हाँ जी.
ओके मैम
Okay. I hope the instructions are clear with everyone now.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Ma'am, what
Yes.
is the attendance procedure?
Ma'am, I have not been added in any WhatsApp group right now.
Okay, then you need to write your contact number in the chat window, and then we'll add your roll number.
Okay, ma'am, we'll do that.
And you need not write your attendance in the chat window. You need to fill that form.
What is the procedure of attendance, ma'am? I have not got any link for the same.
See the chat window. I have sent a link. That is a Google form. That is for your attendance.
Can you please send it again? It's not visible. I think there are a number of messages here in the chat
Okay.
window.
See, I have sent it again.
Okay.
I hope everyone's doubt is clear regarding attendance now. Still, you have any issue, you can ask me now.
Can I leave? I've done the questions.
Yes, you can if you are done with the questions. And Shruti ma'am, thank you so much for the lecture.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So we'll wind up the lecture today. Any issues if you are having that you can discuss it right now.
मुझे रोल नंबर अभी तक नहीं मिला मैम.
Okay, I'll send that. Just type in your mail ID in the chat window.
Ma'am, if we have done, can we leave?
Yes, if you are done, then you can leave. So we are ending the session now. I hope the session was informational to everyone, and hope you that you gain something from these
Excuse me,
links. Big data. Yes.
मैम जो हमारा क्विज का लिंक है और जो हमारा अटेंडेंस का लिंक है वो दोनों सेम है
Yes, it's the same. Quiz will be considered as your attendance only. That's why we are
Okay,
asking to write
Ma'am, I am
on
not
these
able to
numbers.
submit response. Okay.
Okay,
Ma'am, I am not able to submit response. Okay.
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 So, ma'am, we can
Any
attempt
other
the
one? Anyone? See, I
Ma'am,
have
I'm not
on
able
the
to hear.
link in the chat window.
Have you sent the mail?
Uh, can you please repeat, Gunika? It was not clear.
Ma'am, have you sent the roll number on my mail because मुझे अभी तक नहीं मिला है.
Okay, I'll send it. If it is not sent yet, I'll send it as soon as I end the session.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
roll number on that email.
Okay, the same will be shared in your WhatsApp group as well.
Oh.
The same link for your attendance and for your quiz.
You know, yes. Okay. Ma'am, or you can send that link on WhatsApp. Then we can attempt there also.
Yes, but it will be there till 7 o'clock only today. For those who haven't got the roll numbers, will accept their quizzes later
Okay,
on
ma'am.
as well, as soon as we send mails from our end.
Please send it that.
Yes, we are sending it. We are in the process of sending them.
हम बिलाल भाई बात कर रहे थे.
Ma'am, could you send me that link? I can attempt the quiz.
Yes, we are sending it. Can you please wait for some time?
Okay, ma'am.
We will not consider it late because it is from our end. Don't worry about that.
Okay. Hello, ma'am. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are audible.
Ma'am, for window user, how this all thing will make possible, ma'am?
I think Shruti ma'am will be better one to answer this question. Else you can ask if possible, she'll answer it now. Else you can ask her tomorrow as well.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Otherwise, you
Bro,
can switch
download.
windows.
Download VirtualBox, Oracle VirtualBox. It is a virtualization technique.
Okay, bro. Thank you, bro.
No problem, buddy.
I have sent the link कि आप VMware में कैसे जो है Linux को install कर सकते हो. Please check it.
Okay, okay. Ma'am, कथी के
Excuse me, ma'am, I'm not able to connect to the link.
The link is not
Ma'am, it's coming that you're not taking responses for that link.
okay. We'll see at our end and then we'll reopen it. Okay. So I hope everyone's out regarding attendance and you are done with the lecture. So we'll be ending your session now for today.
Ma'am,
If
hello, ma'am.
doubt left, yes, yes, we
Ma'am,
need.
please add me on WhatsApp.
Yes, we are adding it. You'll be added in 5 or 10 minutes maximum. You have sent your contact number on in the chat window.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll be adding in 5 or 10 minutes.
You're sending the link in WhatsApp group.
Yes, we are sending that as well.
Okay, ma'am. Thanks.
So thank you so much, everyone. We are opening the link for attendance again for some time so that you can submit your records.
Ma'am, all those who have submitted earlier, they are counted, right?
Yes, yes. Every response will be counted. Those who have submitted earlier and those who will be submitting it now as well.
Okay.
Okay.